Welcome to the Tank Podcast. In this week's episode, artist Sophia Al Maria discusses her multidisciplinary practice, in which fiction emerges as a form of time travel.
At the moment, I am working on various scripts for TV and also installations. So I'm working today on a show that is going to be on at Somerset House, at least for 100 years, I hope. It's called 2125, and it is a public sculpture that's in front of Lancaster Place. And it's made of 4 massive chunks of Portland stone that have been reclaimed off of the Admiralty Arch, which is outside of the mall leading to Buckingham Palace. So we reclaimed these stone slabs to create public benches because my collaborator Lydia Rahmane and I have been very concerned of late with public space and comfort and use, and the ways in which, obviously, there is a certain hostility towards people who might need to rest in public, especially in terms of the municipal architecture. So we made these comfy stone slabs, which we hope will remain indefinitely. My hope is that people will scratch into them. In there's a lot of very old graffiti. I'm quite obsessed with the sort of palimpsest that happens over time with people scratching into even like paintings in the Vatican, for example, like seeing the traces over time of people's presence, like so-and-so was here. So my assistant, Roro Mu, who's an artist, brilliant sculptor, was in the car with this band Moyne, driving, and her phone was connected to a Bluetooth speaker, and she played a voice note of me asking for her to pick up the mail. And the band asked, whose voice is that? And then a few months later, I started getting emails asking for me to record. And I didn't answer those for a very long time. And then one day, Roru came over with recording equipment and was just like, just read something, just try. So I read a bunch of different poems and essays and just sent it out into the void with her. Another 9 months later, I got an email from the band saying, your voice is all over the album and we kind of need you to tour with us. So that's something I'm really excited about, is being more embodied and in spaces rather than always behind a screen. Kobe Say, who's also he's featured as a vocalist in one of the songs, gave me the hot tip before going on: don't hold the mic near the speaker because you'll get feedback. What happened from that is that I just lurched from side to side, from one foot to the other, desperately hoping that nothing would start screeching at the audience. But and actually, I wasn't wearing any glasses when I walked on stage, and it was a huge venue with balconies, and there was over 1,000 people there, and I'm glad that I couldn't completely see what was happening out there, but it was really, it was a really special experience, and I can't wait to do more of it. When I left the United States, I haven't lived in the United States in the 21st century. I realized that recently. I left in '99, and I was in the Gulf and saw something on TV that changed my perspective forever. And I'd grown up in my family in the States, most of them are quite Christian and evangelical, and that comes with Christian Zionism. And also obviously I'd grown up with American television and news, so there was a certain perspective I'd grown up with. And then I went there, I was 16, and I saw Muhammad Durra killed this child in his father's arms, and that changed my perspective forever. And I was so upset by feeling lied to, and I think I had had a fight maybe with one of my family members back in the States on the phone. I stayed up all night writing for the first time, and that moved me to write for the first time. I didn't write before that. Maybe I diaried, but beyond that, nothing. And that brought me to want to do journalism, which I didn't end up pursuing because I went to university in Cairo. Basically, one of the journalism professors was like, "You're gonna have a hard time doing what you want to do here, so maybe try comparative literature, because that program is bomb." And Edward Said came to speak to us, like 9 of us, and it was a really small program. That was cool. The other big moment that I think my perspective shifted is when I was going through like a prepper phase, and I was having a lot of climate grief, and I still do occasionally, but I was really struggling with anxiety and feeling helpless, which I think a lot of us do. And a friend of mine who has a child and has so much, I think, wisdom, just said, "What are you so worried about? Join the horde. You're a part of it." Like, surviving might not be the goal, but being present is perhaps the important thing. And that really changed my perspective. And that was a long time ago now. It took me a while to learn that lesson. But having that humility to be like, it's not about the number of tin cans I have. It's about how much I can engage with somebody and be a human being with others. I used to hate zombie movies, but now I see that they might not be so bad. One of the reasons that I choose to only write historical fiction for work is because I have the opportunity to sort of time travel, and I never know which period or what sort of lens is going to be my next job. It was 1955 Tangier 5 years ago. It's the 11th century Scotland right now. It's been revolutionary France. It's been pre-Islamic Arabian Peninsula. So I've been able to learn a lot about a lot of different periods in history, which means that I can then see also the echoes and things that are repeating themselves. So it's very comforting, actually, to know that people have gone through the same dramas, the same political upheavals, understanding like how the fall of the Roman Empire into like the dissolution of feudalism into the Crusades, and maybe the Crusades never actually ended, and like all of these sorts of things help me to metabolize what's going on in the present moment. So that's the great thing about being a history nerd. But within the art context, I spent a lot of time sort of having to mill about the futurist circuit 10 years ago or so. And that felt really alarming because I think it just felt like, how can I put this? There's a way in which, especially massive corporations, want to extract ideas about the future from artists or from scientists or from visionaries. And the work that I had been doing was criticizing this like idea of futurism, because there was a term that I had written about, Gulf futurism, which was intended as a satire because it was very much about like American soft power and like ways that like the shopping mall, for example, had been embedded within social order and like public municipal planning, and all of these sorts of ways that that structure had affected people's transition from like a pre-agrarian lifestyle in the case of my family to like hyper-capitalism and like overconsumption, and the effects that that was having. So it was really about the present, but it was my it's on me that I use the word futurism, but science fiction is something that I prefer not to write because I enjoy reading it too much and I enjoy watching it too much. I want to keep something special for myself.
To hear more podcasts from Tank, you can subscribe on all major podcast platforms or follow us on SoundCloud. The theme music for this podcast is by Himera.